You've just moved to a quiet, sleepy town, far from the life you used to know. You're staying with your aunt while you figure things out, a temporary situation until you find a place of your own. She lives in a large Victorian house on the outskirts of town, with tall, narrow windows that cast strange shadows across the lawn, especially at night. The house has a lonely charm, but it's filled with a certain chill, as if it's hiding secrets in its old bones. Your aunt doesn't talk much about the house, except to say it's been in the family for generations. She often mentions how every old house has its ghosts, though you can't tell if she means it literally or figuratively. You dismiss her words as the quirky musings of someone who's lived alone for too long. Still, a faint sense of unease follows you, especially at night. You tell yourself it's just the unfamiliar surroundings, but the feeling lingers, like a cold breath on the back of your neck. Tonight, a storm has blown in, bringing heavy rain and sharp gusts of wind that rattle the windows and moan through the trees outside. You're lying in bed, listening to the rain and the occasional creak of the house. Sleep is elusive. You feel restless, uneasy, like something is pulling you from the comfort of your bed. After tossing and turning, you finally decide to get up. Maybe a walk through the house will help calm your nerves. You grab a sweater, padding softly down the stairs, careful not to make too much noise. The house seems even larger at night, each shadow stretching into strange shapes, each creak echoing down the long, empty hallways. You pass by old portraits on the walls, their faces stern and watchful, and make your way to the basement door. You've avoided this part of the house since you arrived. There's something about it that feels wrong. But tonight, curiosity gets the better of you. You turn the handle and push the door open, revealing a set of narrow wooden stairs that disappear into darkness. The air is thick and cold as you descend, each step creaking beneath your weight. You reach the bottom and sweep your flashlight around the basement, taking in the cluttered space. There are boxes piled high, filled with items long forgotten. Old books, dusty photographs, and furniture draped in sheets that look like ghostly figures in the dim light. But in the far corner, you notice something strange. A door you hadn't seen before. It's small and unassuming, almost hidden behind a stack of old trunks. The wood is ancient, its surface cracked and splintered. You feel an inexplicable pull toward it, a compulsion that's hard to ignore. You step closer, brushing away the cobwebs that cling to the doorframe, and reach for the handle. It's cold to the touch, almost painfully so, and for a moment, you hesitate. Finally, you turn the handle and pull the door open. A rush of icy air greets you, carrying with it a scent of damp earth and something else, a faint, metallic tang, like old blood. You shine your flashlight into the darkness and see a narrow stone staircase leading down. You take a deep breath, trying to steady your nerves, and step forward, descending into the unknown. The stairs are uneven, the stones once smoothed by countless footsteps. The air grows colder with each step, until you can see your breath in the beam of your flashlight. At the bottom, you find yourself in a long, narrow tunnel with walls made of rough, dark stone. The ceiling is low, and you have to hunch slightly to avoid hitting your head. You take a few cautious steps forward, the sound of your footsteps echoing in the confined space. The tunnel stretches out before you, disappearing into darkness, and as you walk, you begin to notice strange markings on the walls. They're carved into the stone, faint and worn with age, their shapes twisting and spiraling in ways that make your eyes ache if you stare at them too long. You can't read them, but they feel familiar, like something you've seen in a dream. As you continue down the tunnel, you start to hear faint sounds, barely more than whispers. They drift through the air, just on the edge of hearing, and you stop, straining to listen. The sounds fade away, but a feeling of unease settles over you, making the hairs on your arms stand up. You tell yourself it's just the wind, but deep down, you know there's no wind down here. The further you go, the colder it becomes. You shiver, pulling your sweater tighter around you, and your breath forms small, white clouds in the air. The tunnel twists and turns, each bend revealing another stretch of darkness, and you start to wonder just how far it goes. It feels like you've been walking for hours, though it can't have been more than a few minutes. You round a corner and stop abruptly. There, in the middle of the tunnel, is a small wooden table, its surface covered in dust. On the table is an old, tarnished mirror, its frame carved with intricate designs that resemble the markings on the walls. You approach slowly, your flashlight illuminating the mirror's cracked surface, and catch a glimpse of your own reflection. You look pale, almost ghostly, your eyes wide and dark with fear. But then you notice something else, another figure standing behind you in the reflection. You whirl around, but there's no one there. The tunnel is empty, silent. You turn back to the mirror, but the figure is gone. Shaking, you step back, your mind racing. You tell yourself it was just a trick of the light, but the memory of that shadowy figure lingers, refusing to fade. You continue on, trying to shake off the growing sense of dread that clings to you. The tunnel seems to stretch endlessly, twisting and turning in ways that defy logic. You begin to feel disoriented, like you're walking in circles. But every time you turn around, the path behind you looks different. It's as if the tunnel is shifting, changing, trapping you in its depths. The whispers return, louder this time, and you can almost make out words. They're faint, distorted, like voices from another world, calling out to you. You quicken your pace, heart pounding, but the tunnel seems to stretch on forever. The air grows colder, and you can feel a presence all around you, watching, waiting. Finally, you come to a door at the end of the tunnel. It's made of heavy, dark wood, with strange symbols carved into its surface. You reach out, your hand trembling, and push it open. The door swings inward, revealing a large, circular chamber lit by the faint glow of old, flickering candles. The room is filled with shadows, and in the center stands a stone altar, covered in a tattered cloth. You approach the altar, drawn by a force you can't explain. On the cloth, you see an old, leather-bound book, its pages yellowed and brittle. You open it, and the words on the pages seem to shift and writhe, refusing to stay still. You can't read them, but they fill you with a deep, primal fear, like you're looking at something forbidden, something that should never have been found. As you stand there, the whispers grow louder, filling the chamber with a cacophony of voices. They echo off the stone walls, growing more insistent, more desperate. You try to back away, but your feet won't move, as if you're rooted to the spot. The shadows around you deepen, closing in, and you can feel something ancient and malevolent stirring in the darkness. Suddenly, the candles go out, plunging the room into complete darkness. You're left alone with the whispers, which have grown into a chorus of screams, filling your mind with a terror unlike anything you've ever known. You feel a hand on your shoulder, cold and clammy, and you scream, wrenching yourself free. You turn and run, stumbling through the darkness, the screams echoing behind you. The tunnel seems to close in, the walls pressing against you, but you push forward, desperate to escape. You reach the stairs and scramble up them, bursting through the door and slamming it shut behind you. You lean against the door, gasping for breath, your heart racing. But as you stand there, you hear a soft, rhythmic knocking from the other side, as if something is trying to get out. You back away, your mind reeling, and turn to flee. The basement seems darker than before, the shadows deeper, more menacing. You hurry up the stairs, not stopping until you reach your room. You lock the door, sliding under the covers, hoping that somehow the darkness will protect you. But the knocking continues, faint and insistent, echoing through the floorboards, growing louder and louder, until it's all you can hear. You lie there, trembling, as the sound fills your mind, and you realize that you'll never escape. You've awoken something ancient, something that's been waiting in the darkness, and now it knows you're here. You close your eyes, praying for morning, but deep down, you know that dawn